Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Coming up tonight, the BUT president says the shortage of teachers persists. A family calls for domestic violence to be taken more seriously. Office of the Spouse on FemSTEM Bahamas. A Bahamian launches a travel website. And former Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Hubert Ingraham, pays tribute to Godfrey Kelly. Welcome to Our News, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Megan Shepard. Most Grand Bahama and Family Island schools are ready to reopen for face-to-face instruction, but issues of space and manpower continue to plague most New Providence schools. Christina Dragovich has more.
Obviously, large class sizes and teacher shortages are clearly impediments to increasing the numbers of students for face-to-face and or 100% return in the midst of this COVID pandemic.
That according to Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson, who says some issues run deep. She adds the reopening plans for each school will be determined on a case-by-case basis.
Find alternative venues for additional class spaces, utilize retirees and supply teachers, and find volunteers, parents, guardians, persons in the community who can supplement for the teacher shortage.
Wilson says that will be a stopgap measure. There are teachers who have been waiting since May 2021 to be hired. She adds that an education plan will go a long way to outline the way forward. Meanwhile, some schools on the Family Islands are facing challenges of their own.
Unfortunately, there are a few schools in Grand Bahama and several schools on Family Islands who are not ready to resume face-to-face for various reasons, ranging from teacher shortages, insufficient classroom space, and lack of furniture, desks, and chairs.
Some Family Island schools with populations lower than 100 have already resumed face-to-face learning about a week ago. Reporting for Our News, I'm Christina Dragovich.
FemSTEM Bahamas and the Department of Gender and Family Affairs partnering to mark the International Day of Women and Girls in Science. Delivering the keynote remarks, Anne Marie Davis of the Office of the Spouse of the Prime Minister. She shared attainable steps that the Bahamas is taking to achieve goals set out by the United Nations for the advancement of women and girls in the science industry.
The main sustainable development goals are quality education, gender equality, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, and partnerships. And this is what this event here this evening is about showing us what we have already started to do in these four main areas of sustainable development goals. So I want to congratulate the founder of FemSTEM, Ms. Tyrona Linton.
Davis noting that a recent memorandum of understanding signed by the government will provide more opportunities for women pursuing an education and career in technology. She says the University of the Bahamas will play a key role in this partnership.
I believe the agreement is between both governments incorporating University of the Bahamas and I believe the University of North America or one of those universities in the United Arab Emirates for sharing science and technology information. So this will provide innovation, create infrastructure, and further industry. Information is key. Science is technology. And once you get information in technology, you're approaching every area of science.
She also commended the FemSTEM organization, which continues to invest in the future of young girls.
I'm happy to say that they are equipping young girls, especially, to pursue opportunities and their vision to accomplish whatever goals they set out, and the education in science that they use to accomplish these goals. So, and I must add that during the pandemic, FemSTEM Bahamas has accomplished much in the last few years. They did workshops, they did award ceremonies, they did career webinars, and they engaged young schoolgirls from the private and public schools. They even competed with Caribbean partners in science education, and they made it to the finals as one of 36 teams. That is so impressive.
Former Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham weighing in on tributes to former parliamentarian Sir Godfrey Kelly, hailing him as a part of a small group who challenged the social and economic norms of the 1960s. Sir Godfrey, who passed away late last week, began his political career as a member of the minority UBP government, where he served as Minister of Education and Sports, starting in 1964. Ingraham, in his tribute to Sir Godfrey, said he was pleased that his contribution to the development of the Bahamas was recognized by the government with the award of a knighthood just 2 years ago. The former Prime Minister, continuing his tribute to Sir Godfrey, said the former minister understood the value of sports in the formation of young people and in his own right was a skilled competitive sailor, competing in the 1960, 1964, 1968 and 1972 Olympics. Mr. Ingraham extends condolences to Sir Godfrey's widow, Lady Kelly, and his extended family. The cousin of a woman who was allegedly stabbed to death by her boyfriend back in 2019 is advocating for domestic violence to be taken more seriously in the country. Owen Darville has advocated for the recapture of Monet Darville's alleged killer, Kenrick Hanna, who skipped bail back in August 2020 and is now the subject of an Interpol red notice. But Darville isn't stopping there. He thinks there is a broader issue that needs to be addressed.
We know that in Black culture, especially in the Caribbean, we have this thing where if it's, a marriage or if it's a relationship on the whole, we don't touch.
Some attorneys have pointed out that the police officers' hands are tied when a woman makes a complaint against her partner, but then withdraws it. But Darville thinks the issue is still deeper than that.
Because they drop charges, just turn their back and just see it as another, woman going through drama because, like I said, there's a trail of women being left behind and they have been to police. They have asked for assistance. And, clearly because of love, emotions, and all these things, they go back and they drop the cases and do all of this kind of stuff. But regardless of the fact, I think with the domestic disputes, once it becomes criminal, once there is an offense done, that person has broken the law, whether it's by battery or, doing something to another individual that is against the law, I feel like the law should go to the fullest extent to penalize that person.
Still to come on Our News, a Bahamian launches a travel website and Alive creates employee patch for affordable COVID testing. That's coming up when Our News returns.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
You're watching Our News Weekend Edition. Welcome back. At the height of the pandemic, businesses were forced to regularly close their doors due to changing restrictions and protocols, while the Alive Digital Services arm swung into action to create a website, Employee Patch, that helps employers to access affordable rapid antigen tests.
They are sold by Ports International, directly an accredited reseller of these tests. And what we do is overlay that with technology that allows employers to register their employees, self-register, administer the test as trained by medical professionals, and afterwards record the results. So it's all done by a web portal. I can just go on to employeepatch.com, type in my name, my email address as my employer, say that I'd like to take a test this morning before I come to work, and then the employer issues the self-test and gives a result via the system. Everything is electronic, it's all convenient, it happens in about 10 minutes, and the person can get back to work, especially frontline workers who are interacting with guests on a day-to-day basis.
Employee Patch is the brainchild of Kendrick Delaney, digital architect at Alive. He says the website was designed to help business owners test employees on a regular basis to maintain a safe work environment.
And our mission really was to provide affordable testing and a system to record those results, specifically for employers to be able to report to the government if there are positive cases, as well as being able to say that we are doing as much as we can to keep our employees safe.
Now, Delaney says the software has been received quite well throughout the country and is currently being utilized on islands including New Providence, Grand Bahama, Abaco, Eleuthera, and the Keys.
Since then, we've had about 70 companies use the service, and right now we have about 20 persons who are using it on a consistent basis. Some very big names are using it because they have a lot of guests and employees on their properties, and you could imagine if you're paying up to like $25 per test, Patch brings those costs down to under $14 per time you test. So you can save up to 40% as an employer using self-testing kits as opposed to going to a medical lab or sending your staff out for testing.
And if you're interested in signing up for the Employee Patch website,
just go to employeepatch.com, look for employer sign up. We do have a FAQ kit there for you to learn about the whole process, where you can set up maybe a testing site on your own property, and in a form that you fill out. Once you fill out that form, you get your own unique website. It'll say employeepatch.com/your business name here. And we will issue your own results and your own report, so you can log into a back-end panel and see how much testing you've done, as well as maybe issue results. If you'd like to look at old reports, we can also have those available to you.
Delaney adds that a seminar is scheduled for this week.
Even if you're a business outside of employer, maybe you have an event space coming up, or you have a big wedding and you want to keep your guests safe, you can sign up for this as a one-time use as well. It's self-testing kits along with the software. You can register everybody in advance. I love this about Patch because it really helps us to broaden all the testing opportunities out there. And then there's not only just 2 or 3 places you can go to get a rapid test.
The COVID-19 pandemic has changed the way we travel. However, One Bahamian is helping travelers navigate this potentially nerve-wracking experience with the launch of a travel website and podcast. Sasha Lightbourne takes it from here.
There are many of you who have not traveled since the pandemic, but for Dominique Butler, traveling remains a way of life. In fact, she recently launched her very own travel website, outofofficeablog.com. Her podcast is also taking off. She shed light on several travel misconceptions during the pandemic.
If you're hesitant of traveling during the pandemic, please don't be, because the pandemic isn't going anywhere. We just have to find ways to work around it and work within it. If you're going to wait until the pandemic passes, you may never go anywhere. I think a lot of people think that it's extremely unsafe. I think if you put the right amount of planning into it and you make sure that you take the necessary, travel protocols and everything while you're traveling, like constantly wearing a mask, no matter the environment you're in, it can definitely be a safer trip for you. A lot of people think it's expensive. Yes, it is, because you do need to make sure that you have money put aside in case you get COVID. But all of this comes from just planning from the get-go, making sure you're prepared most of all.
Butler also gave us a few tips on how you can cut your travel costs significantly during the pandemic.
Reserve now, pay later. This auction has literally saved my life so many times. Like, for example, travel websites like Expedia, Booking.com, they allow, and Viator as an activity website, they allow you to book your activities or your hotel without paying anything down. So let's say, for example, you can take that trip to another city because you got COVID. You didn't pay anything for the hotel and you get your money back. So that reserve now, pay later option with cancellations included is a biggie for me. I don't ever book my tickets from Nassau. what I always do is I book it from the nearest hub. So let's say I'm going to Egypt. I don't book my ticket from Nassau to Egypt. I book it from New York to Egypt and then from Nassau to New York. And you cut down about, I actually showed a friend this today, you save sometimes max $200.
Now, through the website, you can access Butler's services, including her knowledge of visa requirements, use of over 40 different itineraries, or the whole gamut of organizing hotel, airfare, transport, etc. Reporting for Our News, I'm Sasha Lightbourne.
When Our News Weekend Edition comes back from the break, a St. Anne's student still at the helm of Red Nose Day, and a florist speaks to economic challenges ahead of Valentine's Day. We have those details when we return.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
This is Our News Weekend Edition. Welcome back. Imagine in 2022, millions of people around the world are still going hungry. Caden Smith, starting at the age of 11, decided she would make a difference in the Bahamas by observing Red Nose Day, a day set aside to observe world hunger and do something about it. Our Tanya Smith Cartwright has more.
Red Nose Day is a global campaign that unites people from all walks of life with the hope of eradicating world hunger. Started abroad by a most unlikely crew, Caden Smith, an 11-year-old St. Anne's student at the time, driven by empathy for those in need, opened a chapter in the Bahamas and has been blazing trails ever since. She tells us how she got started.
So Red Nose Day is an initiative that I started when I was only 11 years old in the 6th grade. So what had happened was I was on my occasional route going home and I saw a man eating out of the trash, and my mom was like, "So Caden, if this hurts you so much that you're in my backseat crying, what are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do to make a change?" And I like to say that everything was lined up in my favor. When I went home and turned on the TV, there was a commercial for Red Nose Day in America.
Caden did not stop there. She forged forward to make her dream of helping others a reality.
So I did my research, got in contact with the organization to find out that it's an organization started by a comedian group called Comic Relief who wanted to eradicate hunger in London, and it started to spread worldwide. So I said, Bahamians like something funny for money, so how about we bring this initiative to the Bahamas to eradicate hunger? So that's how I got it started.
Inspired by the 11-year-old's passion project, sponsors are now teaming up to lend their support.
We've gained lots of support from the public, such as a lot of corporate organizations have joined in with us. We have places like Kirsten's Closet. We have places like my school itself, St. Anne's, being one of our biggest supporters. We have like J&A Car Auto Detailing, places like Sand Dollar Imports. All of these small businesses and medium-sized businesses are jumping in, like Asa A. Pritchard, to be a big corporate business that's all pitching in to help me, little Caden, eradicate hunger in the Bahamas.
Red Nose Day is Friday, February 18th. Caden tells us how to order our gear for the big day.
Okay, so you can contact us at bahamasrednose@gmail.com, or you can contact us through Facebook and Instagram at Red Nose Bahamas. And there's also a phone number, 426-7754, or you can also just contact the school and we will get your orders straight and bring everything that you want to, your mask, your t-shirt, whatever you need, your noses. We have it all. So let's eradicate hunger in the Bahamas.
Believe it or not, there are still hundreds of Bahamians who go hungry every day. Let's join forces with Caden Smith and Bahamas Red Nose Organization. Put a nose on it. I'm Tanya Smith Cartwright for Our News.
With Valentine's Day just hours away, you can expect higher prices for flower bouquets. Shipping delays are causing flower shortages and are driving up costs. Sharika Johnson explains.
Ahead of the Valentine's Day rush, florists are facing shipping delays and the high cost of importing flowers as the world bounces back from the pandemic. Una Curtis, owner of the flower shop, says roses are more difficult to find and customers can expect to pay more for a bouquet.
The challenges have been the cost to buy, bring in, and make sure that our clients get the best. The pandemic has caused, like everything else, to go up, so this luxury has been a bit costly, but we have where persons in the wholesale environment, they have been able to give us slightly price breaks that we are able to pass on to our clients.
The delays mean that Curtis must seek out local wholesalers to meet the demand. For a Valentine's Day order, she purchased a bulk of 25 roses for $60 from a local supplier. Before the hike in prices, she would have paid about $40. Curtis must now pass that shipping cost on to the consumer.
They pass it on to us. So we try not to do it too much, especially for me. I don't try to do it too much with my clients. I know what you want, so I will make modifications to my design so they can be cost effective for you, because everything is accounted for: the container, the glass, any intricate things that I did to give you the effect that you want, and also my time. Like everything else, it has to be paid for.
There are some things you can do to drive down the price. She recommends swapping roses for other flowers.
Some persons will say, well, can you change the color? Reds are very popular during Valentine, but there are times when you may want a pink or yellow, and the cost can change. Now, pinks are closer to the red, so they tend to be a little more sometimes also, but you may even say, well, can I get a carnation instead? And carnations right now are on the inexpensive side. Now, when Mother's Day comes in, they're gonna change because that's the flower for Mother's Day, chrysanthemums and carnations. So that price will change.
Using a bit of creativity and flexibility, you can still purchase flowers for that special someone. For our news, I'm Sharika Johnson.
And still to come, our Marcellus Hall has the latest in sports.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Welcome back to our news weekend edition. Here's our Marcellus Hall with a check on sports.
Hey, welcome to Our Sports Sunday, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. It's, of course, Super Bowl Sunday. We'll give you details on that tomorrow. Meanwhile, though, in Grand Bahama, how about the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, the Honorable Mario Boleg, meeting with Sporting Association presidents this past week. He spoke with the importance at that time of sports tourism on that island, the Bahamas Games, which will be coming up in 2023, Island Games, and the need for associations to raise their own money. Government's $40 million 10-year plan, and he also talked about the possible implementation of flag football in schools. The minister at that time also saying that he has a great desire to help the YMCA and make sure that Freeport continues to do well in the sporting arena. And that's a look at sports for you here on this Sunday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll see you tomorrow.
And before we close, here's a look at your weekend weather forecast. And that's a wrap for us tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in to our News Weekend Edition. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepard. Have a wonderful evening.